हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम. We'll chant from mantra number 8, chapter 3, section 1. न चक्षुषा गृह्यते नापि वाचा नान्यैर्देवैस्तपसा कर्मणा वा ज्ञानप्रसादेन विशुद्धसत्त्वः ततस्तु तं पश्यते निष्कलं ध्यायमानः एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा यं यं लोकं मनसा संविभाति विशुद्धसत्त्वः कामयते यांश्च कामान् तं तं लोकं जयते तांश्च कामान् तस्मात्मात्मज्ञं ह्यर्चयेत् भूतिकामः स वेदैतत्परमं ब्रह्मधाम यत्र विश्वं निहितं भाति शुभ्रम् उपासते पुरुषं ये ह्यकामाः ते शुक्रमे तद् अतिवर्तन्ति धीराः. हरि ओम. So now the teacher, after revealing the beautiful supreme subtle Brahma in so many mantras, giving various metaphors, says that one who realizes this Brahma after making the buddhi extremely pure, one gains the knowledge of Brahma, and thereafter through meditation one gains direct realization of Brahma. So buddhi, purification of the buddhi is very important. With the pure buddhi only we come to recognize our own pure self, free from all upadhis. So yasmin vishuddhe vibhavati esha atma. The atma shines forth when the buddhi becomes extremely pure. Such an enlightened person who has realized the self, an enlightened person also is like Pratyaksha Ishvara only. Whatever the enlightened person thinks and desires, those kamnas get fulfilled. Though the enlightened person may not have any kamnas for himself, but anyone seeking guidance or blessings from an enlightened master, by worshipping the enlightened master, whatever desires, whatever kamna they have in their mind will get fulfilled. So tam lokam jayate tanscha kaman tasmat atmadnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha. So those who have a desire for prosperity and for fulfilling, gaining pleasures, they should worship an enlightened person. But even a mumukshu who doesn't have any worldly desires, doesn't have any desire for pleasures, should worship an enlightened person to gain moksha. So sa vedai tat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram. That enlightened person knows that param brahma, which is the very abode of all the desires, all the pleasures, everything arises from that Brahma alone. Shankaracharya ji in his commentary he writes, Kisa Veda Janati iti etat yatha ukta lakshanam Brahma paramam utkrustam dhama. It is the supreme dhama, abode, means sarva kamanam ashrayaspadam. It is the very support of all the kamnas. Whatever desire we have, ultimately we have the desire for happiness, and Brahma is the very abode of happiness. It is of the nature of happiness itself. And yatra yasmin brahmani dhamni vishvam samastam jagan nihitam arpitam, and the entire Vishwa is supported by that Brahma alone. Just as all the ornaments are supported by gold, the pots are supported by clay, in the same way this whole Vishwa is supported by Brahma alone. So Jagan Nihitam Arpitam Yaccha Svena Jyotisha Bhati Shubhram Shuddham. It shines forth by the light of that Brahma alone. So tam api evam atmajnam purusham ye hi akamaha vibhuti trishna varjita. So those seekers, mumukshavaha, those seekers who approach an enlightened person free from all other kamnas, with their pure mind, when they approach an enlightened person with the only desire to attain that supreme Brahma and worship that enlightened person, upasate param iva sevante, just as one worships Ishvara, one worships the enlightened person. Param iva sevante te shukram nrubijam yad etat prasiddham sharira upadana karanam ativartanti. Then they transcend this samsara. They transcend the very cause for which this body is born. They transcend the very cause for which we are born again and again in this world. And they attain that moksha. Na punar yonim prasarpanti. They are not born again. So ataha tam pujayed iti abhiprayaha. Therefore one should worship an enlightened person. Be in tune. That itself is what is called satsang. That our mind, when it is in the company of the wise people, of enlightened person, of those who are pure, those who follow the path of dharma, when we are in the company of such people, then automatically our mind also becomes pure. It gets good samskar. We come to understand what is dharma, what is adharma, what is papa, what is punya, what is our ultimate goal. Therefore in Bhaja Govindam also we have seen, Bhagavan says, कि सत्संगत्वे नित्संगत्वम नित्संगत्वे निर्मोहत्वम निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वम निश्चलतत्वे जीवन मुक्ति. That through satsang only we gain vairagya from everything else, and the continuous satsang gives us that knowledge of that Brahma, and through meditation we come to realize that Brahma. So, if we want to attain self-realization, we should give up all other desires and focus our attention on only attaining that self. That is what is said now in the next mantra. So, mantra number 2, let us chant. This is in the 3rd chapter, 2nd section, mantra number 2. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sa kamabhir jayate tatra tatra पर्याप्त कामस्य कृतात्मनस्तु इहैव सर्वे प्रविलीयन्ति कामाः कामान् यः कामयते मन्यमानः स कामभिर्जायते तत्र तत्र पर्याप्त कामस्य कृतात्मनस्तु इहैव सर्वे प्रविलीयन्ति कामाः. Shankaracharya ji writes कि मुमुक्षोः कामत्याग एव प्रधानम साधनम इति एतद् दर्शयति. For a mumukshu, for those who desire liberation, they should give up all other desires. That is the path. See, we have this ignorance of our own self, which is anadi, which is beginningless. That is called avidya. That ignorance is called avidya or ajnana. That is there from the beginningless time. We are not aware, we don't have knowledge of ourself as Brahma. We only have knowledge that I exist, but I don't know that I am that all-pervading Brahma, that Sarvatma. I don't know. So because of this ignorance, there is identification with the body, the mind, the senses, and a wrong notion is there that I am the doer, I am the knower, I am the enjoyer. So this identification gives rise to various types of experiences, which we call the samsara, of joys, of sorrows, pain, fear, jealousy, pride, anger, different types of experiences we get. But when the basic ignorance is there, the desires keep arising in our antakarana, and those desires prompt us into various activities. So there is avidya, which gives rise to kama. Kama means desires. And those desires prompt us into different types of karma. And because of this karma, we are born in different lokas. So this goes on and on. And that is what is said here. Ki kaman yak kamayate manyamanaha sa kamabhirjayate tatra tatra. That a person, due to this kamana, is born in various different places and different life forms according to these kamanas. Shankaracharya ji writes, Ki kamanyah drashta drashteshta vishayan kamayate manyamanaha. One who keeps contemplating on the pleasures of this world, which he has directly seen or may have heard. Sometimes we hear about some pleasures from other people and we think about it. Some person say, oh, I visited that place, very beautiful, good place, nice food, great enjoyment. So I hear about it from someone else and develop that desire. Or sometimes we hear about good description of Swargalok, etc. from the Shastras, and we may get the desire that, oh, if I go to Swarga, it will be so nice. I can live there for a long time, enjoying the pleasures of Swargaloka, which are much higher than the pleasures one gain in this world. So in this way, by constantly thinking about pleasures, we we perform those type of action to fulfill those desires, and those actions then lead us into different worlds. So tad gunas chintayanah prarthayate. So constantly thinking of those pleasures I think of acquiring them. And sa taihi kamabhihi kamaihi dharma dharma pravrutti hetubhihi vishayecha rupaihi sahajayate tatra tatra. Then I am born along with all these desires in those places which are conducive to fulfill those desires. Therefore, we, according to our desires, a variety of life forms are there. Birds are there, animals are there, plants are there, fish are there, the devtas are there, and even human beings, variety of human beings are there, having so many various different types of desires are there. If you just observe this world, you will find that every person has got a different list of desires. If you check your own list of desires which you have and compare it with someone else, you will find that it is so very different. Variety of desires are there. And in order to fulfill those desires, we work. So our body, our mind, our senses and all are totally prompted by desires. And in this life itself, we move from one place to another, from one object to another, propelled by our desires. And then when we leave this body, this physical body, when we die, then those desires which we have cultivated are there, the impressions are there in our Sukshma Sharir. So along with those desires, in order to fulfill those desires, we are born in that type of loka or that type of environment, with that type of body. If we have desire to be lazy, just doing nothing, just lying down and all, we might be born as a buffalo or something, or a python. So depending on those desires, we are born. So kamaihi dharma dharmaihi pravrutti hetubhihi vishayecha rupaihi sahajayate tatra tatra. So one is born there and there in those locations. So yatra yatra vishaya prapti nimittam kamaha karmasu purusham niyojayanti tatra tatra teshu teshu vishayeshu taihi eva kamaihi veshtito jayate. So depending on the types of kamna we entertain in our mind, we are born in those places with those kamnas. Our Pujya Gurudev used to give example, like even if we go to a new place, we just shift our location, residence, we go to a new place, and a person, according to his own desires, he goes around that place and finds those spots which are conducive to his desires. A person who is interested in some having some drinks and all that type of bhoga will find those locations there, and he will say, oh, it's a very nice place where such things are available. Other person who has got some spiritual desires, inclination, will find within short time will find places where satsangs are happening, or some temple is there, or some nice spiritual spot is there. They will discover it. They will just happen to just be there and be in the company of people who are also interested in those type of things. So this we see in this life itself, but same thing happens after our death. According to our desires, we are born in those lokas along with our desires to fulfill those desires. That is how it works. So tatra tatra teshu teshu visheshu taireva kamaihi veshtito jayate. But an enlightened person is one who has dropped all his desires. As a sadhak, he gives up all his desires by pursuing the path of karma yoga and upasana. Slowly the mind becomes free from lot of extra desires. And then further gaining that, approaching a teacher and gaining self-knowledge, all other desires slowly start disappearing. And finally this person, after gaining that self-knowledge and through meditation gaining abidance in that self-knowledge, then what happens to all his desires? He says these desires get dissolved here itself. Paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. All his kamnas get dissolved here itself, while living in this world itself. One who has gained their self-knowledge. Shankaracharya ji writes, कि यस्तु परमार्थ तत्व विज्ञानात्, one who has gained that parmartha tattva vijnan, one who has realized his supreme self. See, now what we know about ourselves is all wrong notion. We consider ourselves the karta, bhokta, jnata is false knowledge. But when one comes to gain the knowledge of our real self through proper sadhana, so yastu parmartha tattva vijnanat paryapta kamaha, all his desires get as though fulfilled. See, if we analyze our desires, though there are variety of desires, the very essence of all these desires or very root of all these desires is to gain happiness only. We want to exist, we want to be happy, and that happiness also we want eternal, free from all other obstacles and afflictions, eternal happiness. So what we are seeking is satyam, jnanam, anantam. We are seeking sat, chit and ananda only. We are seeking existence. We don't want to die. We are seeking knowledge and we are seeking happiness. And this is the very nature of our own self only. So what we are unknowingly seeking is our own supreme self. Because of ignorance, we keep looking for it elsewhere. But what we are seeking is our own self. So when a person finally comes to realize his self, then all his kamnas get dissolved. They no longer remain there. Once you have gained supreme eternal happiness, then you will not have desire for little pleasures. Once you come to realize that you are that eternal Brahma, birthless and deathless, you will have no fear. So there will not be any desire for protection, for security, etc. Once you come to realize your jnana swarupa atma, you will not even have desire for gaining some knowledge here and there. Will not have any curiosity or inquisitiveness or any jidnyasa about anything. So the desires of an enlightened person get dissolved here itself while living. So Shankaracharya ji writes, कि यस्तु परमार्थ तत्व विज्ञानात् पर्याप्त काम आत्म कामत्वेन परिसमन्ततः आप्ता कामा यस्य तस्य पर्याप्त कामस्य कृतात्मनः अविद्यालक्षणात् अपररूपाद् अपनीय स्वेन परेण रूपेण कृत आत्मा विद्यया यस्य तस्य कृतात्मनः स्तु Through that vidya, through the knowledge, he comes to understand that Atma, which was as though covered by avidya, which was as though hidden due to avidya, that Atma gets revealed to him. And once that Atma gets revealed, once his own innermost supreme self gets revealed, then Kritatmanastu, he becomes totally fulfilled. There remains nothing to be gained. There remains nothing to be achieved. In Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan says, कि having gained that self, nothing more remains to be gained. Having known this self, nothing more remains to be known. Having attained this self, there is nothing more to be attained. One becomes fulfilled. So, Krutatmanastu, such a fulfilled, enlightened master, what happens to the kamna? His kamna gets dissolved. Ihaiva tishtati eva sharire sarve dharma dharma pravrutti hetavah praviliyante. So all the kamnas which normally give rise to different types of actions, dharma, adharma, sometimes good, sometimes bad actions, different types of what you call pravrittis, different types of activities the person does due to this kamna, all these kamnas get dissolved here only. They are no longer effective. See, the body continues to remain. An enlightened person body doesn't disappear. The enlightened person's mana, buddhi, chitta, etc. doesn't disappear. The enlightened person's chitta has become extremely pure, so there are no kamnas. They get dissolved here itself. Vilayam upayanti nashyati ityartaha. They all get destroyed. So kamaha tad janma hetu vinashat na jayante iti abhiprayah. Therefore, the person, as long as the prarabdha of this body is there, we come to see an enlightened person. But when the prarabdha get exhausted, the body falls down dead, and the enlightened person is not born again, because the sukshma sharir also get dissolved. Brahmavid brahmaiva bhavati. An enlightened person becomes Brahma only. There remains no difference between an enlightened person and Brahma. So such is the great goal which is pointed out in our Upanishads, which we have to pursue. If we follow the right path, follow the right guidance, and sincerely strive, we will definitely attain our goal. Now, people may think that, okay, we have to attain this goal, so let us listen to a lot of pravachan, let us study all the shastras, let us by heart lot of shlokas, mantras. Maybe with that we will be able to gain this self. The next mantra says no. Only by that you won't gain that self. What is required is something different, something very important. So Shankaracharya ji writes कि यदि एवं सर्वलाभात् परम आत्मलाभः, though the greatest achievement is to gain our own supreme self, तल्लाभाय pravachanadayah upaya bahulyena kartavya. So one may think that I will do lot of pravachan, I will listen to lot of pravachans, lot of discourses on all the scriptures. With that intention one may decide to listen to lot of discourses and all. So here the next mantra, it tells us no, only by that there is no guarantee that one will attain self-realization. It's a very important mantra, so let us chant. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishavrunate tena labhyah tasesha atma vivrunate tanum swam. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishavrunate tena labhyah tasesha atma vivrunate tanum swam. Says कि न अयम आत्मा pravachanena labhyah. This atma, which atma? Our own self. We have to attain our own supreme self. What I know about myself is wrong. So I should know myself properly and realize myself. So for this, one upaya is to listen to pravachans, means study the shastras. So yo ayam atma vyakhyatah yasya labha para purushartah na aso veda shastra adhyayana bahulyena pravachanena labhyah. So one may think that we will do lot of study of our shastras. See, our shastras are so vast. We have the 4 Vedas. They are extremely vast. Anadi, Ananta, Apaurusheya. Anadi, they are beginningless. Means Vedas are always there. Just as this world is always there, just as Ishvara is always there, Vedas are also always there. They are eternal. When the world gets created, Vedas are also created. And when the world gets dissolved, Vedas also get dissolved, but remains as Brahma and again gets expressed. So Vedas are Anadi. Ananta, Ananta means infinite, vast. And Apaurusheya. Apaurusheya means not of any human origin. It is not a creation of human intellect. It is expression of that Brahma only. So Vedas are there, and in the Vedas we have the knowledge of Dharma and the knowledge of Brahma. So first the Vedas teach us how we should follow the path of Dharma. And thereafter the Vedas also teach us through the Upanishad, gives us the knowledge of that Brahma, which is our own supreme self. Based on the Vedas and in tune with the Vedas are the Puranas. We have so many Puranas. 18 Puranas are there and 18 Upa-Puranas are there. Then based on the Vedas only, there are many Dharma Granthas are there, like Manu Smriti, Gautam Smriti, Parashar Smriti, etc. Then in tune with the Vedas are the Itihas. We have the Itihas, the history books, the real history books. And what are the history books? Ramayana and Mahabharata. See, what we study in the world as history is really not history. Many times it is all false only, and written by all those conquerors who have conquered land and conquered and killed and destroyed people and their livelihood. Their histories are not called history. History is written, we have this Ramayana, the history which is written by a person who has conquered his inner demons. He has conquered his Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. Valmiki ji, before he wrote Ramayana, he had lot of negative qualities. Then he met Narad ji, and Narad ji told him the story of Sri Ram, and also told him to chant Bhagwan's name. So by constantly chanting Ram, 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 Valmiki ji became extremely pure. And through that purity, he wrote this Ramayana, the history. And Mahabharata is written by Veda Vyasji, who is Sakshat Avatar of Bhagwan. So we have such vast literature that even one lifetime is not enough. Forget about one lifetime. Many lifetimes are not enough to study the entire, all the literature which is available, the Shastras which are available. One can go on and on and on and on. Still it will not get exhausted. Though all the Shastras are conveying only one message, Vedaisya sarvaihi ahameva vidyaha. In Gita also Bhagavan says, in all the Vedas, I am to be known. You should know me. I am the theme of all these Vedas. But there are those who continuously listen to lots of pravachans, and there are those who give lot of pravachans, but that alone is no guarantee that we will be able to attain that Atma. One can listen to pravachan only academically. One can listen to pravachan without really focusing one's attention and having that intense desire for liberation. One can give pravachan also academically, or sometimes for some commercial purpose, to gain fame, name, wealth, etc. So such things will not lead us to self-knowledge. So na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha. Only by giving pravachan or listening to pravachan, one will not gain atma. Tatha na medhaya granthartha dharana shaktya. One may say, okay, just listening to pravachan may not help. We have to understand. We have to grasp what is being said. We have to retain what is being said. Many times we study one text or something and then we forget it also. So aage part, piche sapat. So we keep studying new text and new things, and we keep forgetting what we have studied before. So that will also not be proper. So one should be able to retain things in our memory. We should have the dharana shakti. That is called medha shakti. We should be able to grasp what is being conveyed and should be able to retain it in our memory properly, so that we are able to express it whenever it is required. That alone is the sign that we have understood. We should be able to understand what is being conveyed. We have to remember what is being conveyed, and we should be able to express what is being conveyed properly, systematically. That is very important. Otherwise, what is the use? So that is called Medha, Medha Shakti. But here it is said that even Medha Shakti will not give you liberation, give you that self. You will attain the self only by Medha Shakti. There are some people who are extremely scholarly, great Pandits. They have such mastery over the subjects. They can quote from left, right and center, from everywhere. They have such vast knowledge that you are amazed by their wisdom and their knowledge. But there is no guarantee that they will attain that Atma. Even in some academic places, in universities where they teach philosophies and all, sometimes you find these professors and all, they are so scholarly. They know so much. If you ask them about Vedanta, they will tell the variety of things. What Shankaracharya ji says, what Madhvacharya ji has said about it, what Vallabhacharya ji has said about it, what is the view about it in the Sankhya philosophy, what is the view in Vaisheshika, what is Nyaya, what is Yoga, what is Sankhya, what is Purva Mimamsa, what are the various Vadas, Avachedavad, Pratibimbavad, this Vad, that Vad. Everything they know. But have they realized the self? No. They have not realized the self, nor are they going in the right direction. It's like a person who knows a map of a city. He knows every gully. He knows the name of every road and every lane. He knows everything. But he has not decided where he has to go and which road he has to take. So he doesn't reach anywhere. He doesn't reach anywhere. So na medhaya, na bahuna shrutena. Then there are those who listen a lot. They do a lot of listening. स्वामी जी बहुत प्रवचन सुने हैं हमने बचपन से, सभी लोगों को सुना. They keep listening. Anyone speaking on anything, they listen. They are great listeners. They listen to every... And many of the speakers, they speak contradictory things also. They listen. कुछ भी हो हम सुनेंगे. Some say one thing, others say something else, totally contradictory, they listen. So, listening to lots of pravachan, will we gain self? Says no. That is a very disappointing and very sad thing which you are revealing. And that too you are revealing at the end of this Upanishad. If it was revealed in the beginning, we would have stopped listening to your pravachan. Shankaracharya ji says, Kena tarhi labhyaha. How will we gain then this self? Iti uchyate. Now the teacher says, not that pravachan is not important, not that medha is not important, not listening is also not that it is not important, but along with that what is required is that intense desire to attain that self. Kena tarhi labhyah iti uchyate yame yam eva paramatmanam eva esha vidvan vrunute. It is said that one who chooses, vrunate means choose, one who chooses that Atma, praptum ichchati, one who decides to attain that self, with that firm decision of attaining that self, when one listens when one studies, when one does sadhana, then one will attain. Tena varanena esha paramatma labhyate labhyah nanyena sadhanantarena nitya labdha svabhavatva. Because that Atma is nitya labdha. See, Atma is not something which is far away, which we have to attain. It is not away from us. It is our own self. It is nitya labdha. It is always attained. But due to ignorance, we are not aware of it. Shankaracharya ji gives example. Kidrisho aso vidusha atmalabha iti uchyate tasyeva atma vidya atma avidya sachannam swam param tanum swatma tattvam swarupam vivrunute prakashayati. Actually, it is like something is there in darkness. Prakasha iva ghatadir vidyayam satyam avir bhavati ityartah. Like a pot is there in darkness, so it is there, but because of darkness we are not able to see it. But when there is light, we just come to see it. It was always there with us, but because of darkness we were not able to see it. Similarly, this Atma is always there with us. I am that Atma. But because of ignorance, we are not able to recognize it. So through our sadhana, properly, intelligently, with a firm desire to attain this self, when we listen to the pravachan, contemplate, think, meditate, we will be able to attain that self. Means that self itself reveals itself. The self reveals when the whole atmosphere becomes conducive, when the chitta becomes shuddha, when we have the theoretical understanding of our own self, and when we focus our attention only on the self gets revealed. I will give you one example which will convey this, what I am saying. The example of Nandi. Nandi Bhagwan is there. So this Nandi Bhagwan, he keeps looking at Lord Shiva. Keeps looking at Lord Shiva. Without any distraction, without any other agenda, without having any other desires, only with that desire of attaining Shiva, he keeps looking at Shiva. And when he keeps looking at Shiva, Lord Shiva reveals himself to him. Bhagwan Shivji reveals himself to Nandi. Nandeshwara, with single pointed attention, with single pointed devotion, with single pointed vision, he keeps looking at Lord Shiva. See, it's a great miracle. If you want to know the secret of meditation, if you want to know the secret of Nididhyasan, you should learn from Nandi. Nobody can teach better than Nandeshwara. He keeps looking at Lord Shiva only. Others may say, oh, there is no Shiva there. Shivji to nahi hai. Samne to koi nahi hai. Nandeshwara has that deep faith in the Shastras, has understood the main message of the Shastras, and is just looking there, where the Shastra has pointed out that that Shivji is here. You keep looking, keep surrendering. Don't have any other distraction. Don't have any other agenda in your mind. Just keep looking. So you will find in every Shiva temple, you will have that Nandi. And those devotees who go to see Shiva, first they have to meet Nandi. And should look in the direction in which Nandi Bhagwan is looking. There only we will find Shivji. So traditionally when we go to a Shiva temple, first we meet Nandi. And we look at his eyes, we see where he is looking. And from his vision only we try to see. And then we see that Shivji. So one who chooses Atma and Atma alone, one who doesn't get distracted by various philosophies, one who doesn't get distracted by various other informations, one who doesn't get distracted by other agendas, because the scriptures point out कि I am Atma Brahma in one sentence only. Though the scriptures are so vast, they point out the essence in one sentence. Tattvamasi, you are that. I am Atma Brahma. This Atma itself is Brahma. So with deep faith and deep understanding, just be with, look in the direction where the Shastras have pointed out and just be there. Then what happens? A great miracle happens. That Atma, the Shuddha Atma reveals itself. Our job is to reach up till Nandi. Our job is to become Nandishvara, to just keep looking, expecting Bhagwan to reveal himself. And when Bhagwan reveals himself, I come to understand Bhagwan is in me only. I become of the very nature of Ananda. So Nandi Bhagwan is Ananda Swarupa. On him only Shivji resides. Wherever Nandi goes, Shivji is there on his back. Shivji is always with him then. So that is what is revealed here in this mantra. Ki yame vaishya vrunute tena labhyaha tassesha atma vivrunute stvanum swam. That one who chooses Atma and Atma alone, means even in pravachan, even in all the adhyayan, in all his studies and listening, etc., he does it with the choice of only attaining that Atma, no other desires, no other agenda. Just like sleep, when we have only one desire, I want to sleep and sleep alone, then I just fall asleep. But if I have 10 different agenda, then I will not fall asleep. I will remain awake whole night, distracted. Similarly, when we have only one desire to attain that Atma, and we have prepared ourselves, our chitta has become Shuddha, our buddhi has gained proper understanding, and with that we just sit and wait for that Atma to reveal itself. That is called Nididhyasa. That itself is called Sharanagati. That itself is called Bhakti. In the language of Bhakti, it says that surrender to Bhagwan. and he will reveal himself to you. Mayyeva mana adasva mayi buddhim niveshaya niveshishyasi mayyeva atha urdhvam samshayah. In Gita, Bhagavan says, you place your mind in me, place your intellect in me, and you will be in me. He says, you renounce everything, surrender to me, I will give you moksha. And here it is said, you just have that intense desire to attain that Atma, give up all other desire, and that Atma will reveal itself to you. Be Nandi, and Lord Shiva will reveal himself to you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and meditate like Nandishvara. And Lord Shiva, your own self, will reveal Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham. Mano buddhya hankara cittani naham nacha shrotra jivve nacha ghrana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. So without feeling dejected, with full faith, with full shraddha, like Nandishvara, meditate on Shiva, and Shiva will reveal himself to you. Om Tat Sat. So take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and we will meet again tomorrow. Listen to the pravachan again, share this with your friends and family members, and we meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Boli Siya Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.